Yeah, yeah, yeah. They making new laws every day, and those of the master they throw away. The things they go about and preach, it's not what they teach, and no one seems to care. The whole world lives in fear, just despair everywhere.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Rasulullah, Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, la ilaha illallah. In the name of Allah, most gracious and most merciful, in the name of the Almighty God, the beneficent and merciful. We give praise and thanks to God for bringing us through. And I greet you, brothers and sisters, with the greetings of peace. To my Christian brothers and sisters, especially today on Good Friday, peace be unto you. To my Hindu brothers and sisters who are here, Namaste. To my Rastafarian brothers and sisters who are here, Jah peace and Jah love. And to my Muslim brothers and sisters who are here, Assalamu alaikum. Brothers and sisters, I welcome you today to be a part of what is happening. And today our Christian brothers and sisters are participating in their Christian ritual of the crucifixion of Jesus and his resurrection. We, as Muslims, as Hindus, as Rastafarians, as Buddhists, we don't share the same philosophy of the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. But what we do share is the brotherhood of our hearts, that there is a higher power, a higher spiritual power, and the recognition that each of us who believes in that power are subjected to rituals that we do in recognition of what we believe. And therefore, our Christian brothers and sisters are performing their rituals in recognition of what they believe. And the only thing that we can do is to be tolerant and to recognize that they're trying to do good. For it is good that conquers evil. And so whenever we see believing men and women, who are we to question what they believe and how they believe? Jesus said, by their fruits they shall be known. And the Christian Bible also said, not only those who say, Lord, Lord, will enter into the kingdom of heaven. So we understand that believing men and women have a certain way to behave and to believe. And when we see them perform, and it is in keeping with our faith, then we give recognition and we become tolerant. We can cook the same meals, but we use different spices. We use different ingredients. And if we are not wise enough in our contact and our relationship to the spirit of man, if we are not tolerant, then we would end up looking at how man looks in order to judge our fellow man. The Quran says, we have created you as different tribes and different nations so that ye may know one another. So do not run over the matter, but bow down with those who bow down with you. And that's good advice. Those who come here to be with us, we welcome them. And if they invite us to go where they are in order to do good, we go. So today is a day where we give recognition to the rituals and practices of our Christian brothers and sisters. We do this because when we view Jesus, we see not a Jesus, gentle Jesus, meek and mild, but we see a person who stood up for the truth in the society in which he lived. And he was prepared to die for the truth. We see a person who was prepared to be self-sacrificial, to sacrifice himself, rather than to deny what he believed. When we view the rituals and the practices of our Christian brothers and sisters today, we hope that they are conscious of the fact that when Jesus said, "Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men," that's what he meant. When a prophet says, "Follow me," or a messenger says, "Follow me," does it mean you walk behind him and follow him? Or does it mean that you do and practice what you see him do? What do we understand by "follow me, and I will make you fishers of men"? You know, to follow Jesus, for those who preach about Jesus, to follow Jesus, there is only one ending, and he has shown us that's, according to our Christian brothers and sisters, the crucifixion. So if you don't want to be crucified, because there is no other alternative, Jesus showed us that. There is no alternative when you follow Jesus, but be prepared to be crucified. And that is where the big problem comes in. We sing about hymns about Jesus. We preach about the things that Jesus did. We glorify God for Jesus. but are we following Jesus? It's all well for me to talk about what you did, but to follow you, if I'm not sincere, it's a difficult thing. One has to be prepared to be crucified. And that is what I hope that many of our brothers and sisters who today have taken time out to give respect and honor to the leader, I hope they understand what his life was all about. They taught me when I was a young boy to say, gentle Jesus, meek and mild, look upon this little child. There is hardly anything meek and mild about an individual who recognizes that his people are being oppressed, who recognizes that his people are hungry, who recognizes that his children are naked. There is hardly anything that can be meek and mild about an individual like that. And all of those people who decide to celebrate today because of a meek and mild Jesus, I can understand why the world is the way it is, and why the lame are still being lame, and why the hungry are still being hungry, and why crime and killing and murder is still prevalent. It's because I want to believe, with all due respect to the believers, that they don't really understand what Jesus was about. We see a man who is standing up and speaking to the scribes and Pharisees. In those days, the scribes and Pharisees were the heads of state. And we hear him say, "Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees! You are like whited sepulchres with dead men's bones inside. You garnish the sepulchres of the righteous, and you place heavy burdens on the shoulders of people to bear, and you do not bear them yourselves." In actual fact, Jesus is saying, you listen to what I'm saying, but you don't follow me. Now the same thing happens in our world with people who stand up to speak to the scribes and the Pharisees.
Man create his own monster, weapons of damnation and disaster. No sign at all of human rights. The day has turned into night. Is racialism so, and segregation so? Which way is left to go? I don't know. Oh Lord, tell me, what about love thy neighbor? Tell me, what about he ain't heavy, he's my brother? Nobody cares a damn anymore.
And yet still, we speak about people like that, or we speak about Jesus like that as being weak and mild. You know, there's a brother that I have a lot of respect for, and that's Brother Mahatma Gandhi. I use Mahatma Gandhi because he is a recent brother from all the other powerful men as Moses and Abraham and so on. And one would want to believe that Mahatma Gandhi was non-violent. Violence doesn't mean that I have to take a stick and hit you with it. Being violent has been interpreted in our society as being something that one should refrain from. But in order to defend oneself, at times, one has to be forceful, whether it's mentally, whether it's spiritually, whether it's morally, or physically. Because the time and the moment demands action. And Jesus was a man of action. That is why he said, "Marvel not at the things that I do. You can do these same things and many more things." That's what he said to us. Another thing about today and the crucifixion is loyalty. Loyalty to the leader. He had 12 so-called loyal followers. But anyone, and this is what Jesus showed us, in a position that demands strength, mental and spiritual strength, to stand up against the powers of evil. Anyone that decides to do that, what Jesus showed us is that that person must know from the beginning that they are alone. We see 12 people, 12 men, as written in the King James Version of the Bible. We see 12 men who call themselves the brothers of Jesus. We saw them move away, run away, leaving him alone to face the pangs and the challenges of evil. But the problem is that Jesus knew that before. He knew that they will not stay in times of pressure and of trouble. He told Peter, one of his trusted disciples, he says, when the times come, you will deny me thrice. There is a situation with him where there was a lady who admired him. And he was invited to a home. And this lady was anointing his feet with alabaster ointment and oil. And the disciples said to him, Master, don't you know how expensive this oil is? And you have this woman rubbing your feet with it? Now, if you love your leader, why should you worry how expensive the oil is? You should be proud to see that your leader's feet are being anointed with something expensive and worthwhile. And they said that ointment could be sold and the money could be given to the poor. And Jesus turned to them and said, leave her alone. Let her do what she's doing. The poor are always with you. Which means you're going to have to look after them all the time. So you leave her alone. You see, that alone shows that Jesus knew that he was alone. And so when the time arrived, according to the written scriptures, when the time arrived, he was prepared to make his journey on his own. And therefore, brothers and sisters, when we view a day like today, where the crucifixion of Jesus is being remembered, it is important that we remember the role that he had to play. And the role that many of our leaders are not prepared to play. What is amazing